Hey there, friends, and welcome to the Define Success podcast. I'm your host, Bailey Guy. Join us as we empower you to turn your can'ts into cans and your aspirations into achievements. Hi, everyone, and welcome back to season 2 of Define Success. I'm Bailey Guy, and I'm here with such an amazing guest today. This is Stephen Roddy. He is the founder of Pageant Planet. And so welcome, Stephen. I'm so happy you're here.
Thank you, Bailey.
Yeah, so tell me, let's just go to the beginning. So tell me about the story behind Pageant Planet and what exactly that is if people are not familiar, and what inspired it all.
Well, so when I was 23, I bought an arena football team. It was down in Georgia. And I thought, who's the prettiest girl I can get to do the coin toss? And it's like, I don't know, maybe I can hire Miss Georgia. Maybe that's a thing. So turns out you can hire Miss Georgia for an appearance. So she did the coin toss, and make a long story very short, like she and I started dating. And then after the football team, I was looking for my next business venture. And I was like, wait, how much did you say you spent on evening gowns? How much on pageant entry fees and coaching? But so that was that whole thing where I saw an opportunity. But what I really saw in her was this change that she underwent. I mean, when she won Miss Georgia, she got this team of people that surrounded her that said, oh, these are the colors you should wear. You should do your hair like this. This is how to walk. This is how to do your makeup. And there was all this team of people helping her get appearances and her networking. And I just thought, it's pretty amazing to have that baked in to this extracurricular activity. Because being a business guy, like I had to hire and spend a lot of money going to personal development conferences to learn these different tips and tricks. And she just got it organically for winning a local title and then a state title.
Yeah. That's a really it is so cool to see how it is an investment going in, but the return on the investment is totally priceless. I mean, the
Yeah.
opportunities that you get, and you might have to spend a little bit on your gown and on this and that, but the opportunities and the people and the connections and the skills that you gain from it, you really can't learn that anywhere else in such a fun experience.
Yeah.
So yeah, pageants, it's such a good investment. And so I'm glad that you started something like Pageant Planet to really give such, honestly, a lot of the resources are free on Pageant Planet to help contestants with that journey. And I remember I was probably 12 or so when I found Pageant Planet, and I used to read the blog and the post, and I would just sit there at the family computer and just absorb and just get all of the information that I could from it. And so it definitely has made such an impact on people, and it's really cool to see that there are resources out there for that journey of the life skills and the development that you go on.
Well, that was the goal, is to create a platform where everybody could find each other. Because I remember asking her,
Yeah.
like, how do you find a coach? And she was like, oh, you just kind of go through your director. And I only know at the time she competed in America. So I knew Miss America and Miss USA. I didn't know about all these other ones. And
Yeah.
I mean, there's many more pageants now than were back in 2009.
Yeah.
But I mean, the blogging back then was the social media of today. Like
Mhm.
if you look at Instagram, that's the new blogging. So we actually, I mean, it's important when you create something, regardless of what you're doing, you want to pivot with the times. So I was like, do we really need to do like 3 blogs a day, every day, never miss a day? Because that's how I created it.
Yeah.
Was like, all right, 3 blogs a day, every day, never miss a day, and we're covering everything. But the traffic really stopped. So then what we combined is like, let's just do one massive article on everything you need to know about evening gown, and everything you need to know about interview, just in one long form article. So many of our articles now would be equivalent to like a 20-page book. I mean, there's like hyperlinks that you click and it drops
Yeah.
down to where you need to go. But I just wanted a comprehensive thing that people could go and consume.
Yeah. That's really awesome. I'm so glad that you did it. Well, my
Hey,
next,
kind
my
of worked
next,
out.
my next question and thing that I would love to know is, besides that Miss Georgia that you dated, and also besides your amazing wife, who I got to meet a few weeks ago, who is a pageant title holder, can be any title holder, who has had a really strong impact on you personally, or who has inspired you in some way?
Mm. Well, I'd say Chesley Chris. So before she passed, I was interviewing her, and just like the life that she gave, and she told me that she used like a lot of our resources to win Miss USA. She was like she printed off her practice questions and was practicing them, and for that it was a lot of it added a lot of belief into like what we were doing
Mm-hmm.
because I knew that maybe contestants that had smaller title holders. But I was like, oh, but of course they use it because they didn't really have a coach. They live in nowhere, Ohio. I'm from Ohio, so I can say that, and so there wasn't a coach around them. But for her, she had a lot of she had the best, and she still like relied on our platform. So to me, that was a really good shot in the arm. And additionally, like seeing the impact of her passing and how everybody came around and like how much of an impact she had on the entire community. And so scrolling out, like we don't really ever realize the impact that we're having on other people's lives, good, bad, or indifferent. I mean, she certainly didn't realize the impact that she had on other people. So it's helpful for me to remember that every interaction is an opportunity to either push someone to their ultimate destiny and what they should be fulfilling in life, or to make them question themselves and push them towards the opposite, where they feel like I'm never going to make it. So it's
Mm-hmm.
up to me to create an environment of safety to where people feel like they can do it, whatever that thing is.
I remember that video that was posted where she was asked, "How'd you prepare for interview?" And she said, so I'll just go ahead and tell the tip for anybody who hasn't seen it, but she printed off the 200 something questions that are a free resource on the Pageant Planet website. And I have also printed off these questions. They are very good. But she had printed them off and then cut them up and put them in a jar. And every day she would pull a few of the questions to practice interview. And I feel like she gave that interview or gave that video, I feel like it was at Miss Universe or at Miss USA. Like she was somewhere
Yeah.
competing. It was a
Hmm.
very big deal. And I remember that being shared by Pageant Planet and thinking, that's really cool, that she's Miss USA and here she is. She's using this free resource that a lot of people might pass up because it's not, their direct coach or something, but there are a lot of really good resources out there that are accessible. And even like my podcast, this is a free resource that people can use to prepare. And a lot of my blogs give a lot of good insight and information as well. So
Yeah,
if
they
you're
do.
new to pageants and you don't have the finances to hire a coach or put a lot of a financial investment into it, there are a lot of free resources out there and people willing to help you.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Okay, I would also love to know, and it might be a similar answer, but who is a Miss America or Miss USA that you think is just absolutely amazing and your favorite former title holder?
I really like Teresa Scanlon,
Yeah.
former Miss America. She was the second youngest that's
Yes.
ever
I think she
competed.
was 17 when she
Yeah,
was crowned, which is crazy. I don't even think you can compete at Miss America at 17 anymore. I think the age division is
yeah,
it kind of depends on where your birthday falls. But yeah,
true.
for her to win at 17 was amazing.
Yep, yep. You know your pageant history. So she did that, and then the thing I also liked about her is she was just uniquely her, and she actually created. She got a few other Miss Americas to try to boycott Pageant Planet. So say they all said like we should all boycott Pageant Planet because I did this article and they said take it down. I'm like, no, I'm not going to take it down just because you said it. Because I hate for people to tell me what to do. It doesn't matter what it is. Like there's a story of my mom saying, "Hey, sweetie, have a good day at school." I'm like, "Don't tell me what to do, mom. I'll be waiting." But and so she did that, and then we actually met at a Miss America pageant. Because for a little time there, I was brand manager for a designer that I don't know if he's still around or not, but Tony Bowles. I think he does like some
Yeah.
one-off dresses. But at the time, he was the first designer to sponsor like Miss America. So they brought me on to kind of help monetize that relationship and to help them understand the pageant community better. And so I met her at that thing, and then she didn't realize that I was Steven because it was all like social. And then
Mhm.
she's, you know, like, yeah, I know you too. And then we got to talking, and then she realized, and she's like, oh, you're on Pageant Planet. And then like, so and then we hit it off after that because like we both really just liked each other. But the other thing I really liked about her is I got her to compete in another
Miss
pageant.
World America.
Yeah, wow, good
Yeah.
job. Yeah, so
I
got her
don't know
to
how I know these things, but
so I called her, I was like, hey, like no other Miss America has ever done this.
yeah.
And it's like I think it'd be a cool opportunity just to like see because what would it be like if you had the title of Miss World America and Miss America? And so got her to compete and she ended up getting first runner up. She was over in Massachusetts, and like she came and crashed, and me, her, and Renata hung out and had breakfast, and you know, it was just it's cool. It's a cool kind of industry to be involved when you hang out with interesting people that's doing interesting things.
Yeah, it is really cool. And I
Yeah,
loved seeing that she did continue and do something later on in the pageant industry because she had one so young. And so
yeah,
getting to see, she probably felt in some way, if I had to be in her shoes, she might have felt like some of those life skills and that development and the character building and everything that comes with the pageant industry over years of, you know, first runner up and not winning and all of that, she might have kind of felt like she missed out on some of that by winning on, you know, at 17. And so
yeah,
I love that she got to experience that and feel, because honestly, you know, I've lost a million more pageants than I've won. And sometimes it's the losses that, well, it's always the losses that really teach you. And
wow.
I heard the quote, I heard it, I think yesterday, I don't remember where, but it was a few days ago, maybe. But success is the worst teacher. I wish I
Hmm.
could remember where I heard that. It was just this
Yeah,
week, but success is the worst teacher. And so she probably felt like she wanted to get some of that character and the skills that you learn more so from the experience. And sometimes that comes with losing to get those things.
yeah, completely. And after that, Miss America put it in the contract that they that after you win Miss America, you can't compete in another pageant.
Really? I didn't even know that that was a thing. Oh my
Yeah, so after you
goodness.
win this America, you're not allowed to compete. Now, I don't know since Robin's taken it over how much that contract's changed, but yeah, that was put in there.
Wow, that is so funny. I did not know that. What a funny little tidbit. Um, okay, I would also love to know because you have made so many blog posts with advice, and it does range from things for beginners to things for people who have been competing for many years. So I'd love to know what is your best advice for a brand new contestant who's never really competed before, and what's your best advice for the girl that's a seasoned competitor and is always runner up but has never taken that crown yet?
Well, the both is the same, and that's work on your mindset more than your image. Because like with pageants, you feel like, okay, if I get the perfect dress, the perfect walk, you know, the best coach, and I give the best answers, that you're going to win. But the truth is, if you don't ever feel that you're worthy of the title that you're going for, you'll find a way to sabotage it. And so the best thing that you can do is really focus on developing your mindset like that you can win and that you deserve to win.
That is so good. Do you have any specific steps or tips on how a contestant could do that and work on that mindset?
And two, so one of the things is when you're looking at a contestant, right, and you're saying, oh, she's not competition, right? I would be very weary of that comment, that mindset, that thought that sneaks in. And it's not because of that girl, but if you compare yourself to someone and you're the victor, then by default, you will find someone else that you're competing against and you'll compare yourself where you're the victim, the loser.
Mhm.
So it just, you can't turn it on for one person and then turn it off for another. So you got to just basically have the blinders on and just focus on self. And it seems easy to do in practice, but realistically, it's an exhaustive training because you're trying to, in essence, control your thoughts, which you can't really control thoughts. You can just saturate your mind with the thoughts you should be thinking of, and then that will organically push out the thoughts that you should not be thinking of. And I've found that the best way for me to do this is through books. So there's a great book. It's called Cybernetics is one. The other is The Game of Life and How to Play It. And those two are just really powerful for just teaching you how to think. So another thing that I've noticed along the same mindset is like, let's say an interview, right? So a girl will come out of interview and you're next up, or you maybe probably second up because the next up goes right in. So the girl comes out and you say, how did you do? She's like, oh, I crushed it. Oh my gosh, best ever. Best ever interview. It's like, what did they ask you? Right. And then they asked me about my interview, my 5-year goals, all this kind of stuff. Right. So then a few things are going to happen. One, you're going to be like, okay, she crushed her interview, so I've got to crush mine. And you have some preemptive thing of what crushed interview looks like. Right. And her crushed interview could have been like, this is the first time that she never tripped walking into the room. That could be her definition of crushed it. But your definition of crushed it is something way beyond that. So already you're setting yourself up for a loss. Secondly, if she tells you, they asked me about my interview, 5-year goals, whatever, one of two things are going to happen. You're either going to get asked the same questions, right? And then you're going to come off rehearsed because you've been practicing. If you ask me this is what I'm going to say, A, B, and C. Or if they don't ask you, what's your 5-year goal, what's your plan, what's your platform about, then you're going to walk out thinking like, why didn't they ask me about what my 5-year plan was? Are they not interested in me as a title holder? They didn't ask me because my platform because they don't care. They know I'm not, they know I'm not the girl. So it's those kinds of things, right? It doesn't matter what they asked her. It doesn't matter if she thinks she had a great interview, right? Just play your own game. And if anyone really intimidates you, compliment them. Compliment them, find it. Whatever it is that they're intimidated. If you think they have a better singing voice, you should be clapping the hardest for them and be like, you're awesome. Love your singing voice. If it's their swimsuit body, you should be like, wow, you look amazing. Like you want to neutralize that energy because what happens is like you you attract things best when you're neutralized. You ever find like in life when you want something too bad, it's elusive. I mean, like if a guy comes up to you, Bailey, and he's desperate for you to go out, it's repulsive, right? He wants you too bad. You got to be kind of like, hey, Bailey, what's up? How you doing? And then just like not have any attachment to your response to whatever I'm saying. Those guys are a little more interesting. Like, oh, wait, like I want to know more. You want to come with them. So with so in life, if you find yourself wanting something too bad, like I've got to win Miss Universe, I've got to win fill in the blank, then make a list of all of the negative things that would happen if you won Miss Universe or Miss fill in the blank. Because the thing is, like you've basically set it up as an idol that like you have to win it. So by listing out these 12 things, and the more that you want something, the more the list should be negative until you can feel yourself being like, God, I don't know if I really do want to win Miss fill in the blank because you want it to be neutralized. So take some time to think about the negative. Similarly, if you're competing against a girl and she just absolutely just rakes your nerves over the coals, right? Make it your mission in life to neutralize it and find out all the amazing things about her because then it neutralizes that and you're able to attract like whatever it is that you want.
Wow, that's some really great advice. And back to the interview thing, because I did a pageant several years ago. I was a young teenager, and a girl came out, and I had competed with her in the past, and she'd always scored higher than me. She came out of the interview room, and I asked her how she did, and she said, "That was the best interview of my entire life." And I remember I thought about that for the rest of the week. I was like, "Oh, she's going to win because that was the best interview of her entire life."
Yeah.
Well, I found out a year or two later, I ran into her again and we were talking about that pageant, and interview came up, and she was like, "I just hated my interview then. Like my interview, I just did not even do a good job at all." And I'm being like, "You've told me that that was the best interview of your entire life." And then
Yeah.
I was focusing on that when in reality, that was probably just her wanting to say that so that everyone thought that that was the best interview of her entire life, because she wouldn't want to tell somebody, "Oh, that was terrible."
Yeah.
And so you can't even believe people if they say that that was the best or worst interview that they've ever had. You can't even believe them because it
Yeah.
really might not even be true for them.
Yeah, it's like when people are like, "How's business?" No one says, "Oh my gosh, it sucks. I don't know how I'm gonna pay the bills next
Yeah.
week." "Oh my gosh, it's amazing." Like everything,
Yeah.
so everybody just puts out that best foot forward. So
Mhm.
yeah, case in point.
Yeah. Okay. I have one last question for you.
Please.
And this is one of the most asked questions in the pageant world, but it's also the inspiration behind the Define Success podcast. So, how do you personally define success?
For me, when I think about like my life and where I'm gonna end up, it's gonna be a graveyard. And when I think about what do I want on my tombstone, and I want it to say like he lived his message. Like, was I authentic to what I believed? And was I authentic behind closed doors like I am out in the public? And to me, like if I can do that, like I am successful. Because like when I was younger, I was like, I would be successful if I got a certain level house or I made a certain amount of money. And 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 then I realized like I've been able to do some of those things gratefully. Um, but I'm like, but if I'm miserable and if I don't have peace inside of myself in that process, like what's it worth? Like what's better? Somebody that just is basically living day to day, but they have just absolute peace with their spouse and where they are in life and with their creator, or is it the person is worth like a gazillion dollars, but then they have no peace, right? I think
Mhm.
we'd all agree it's this. Now, this looks a lot better on Instagram, right? but, but at the end of the day, like a nice cup of coffee with people that really love and respect you for who you are and what you've done, um, is the ultimate success. Like if you create all massive success, massive like wealth or accomplishments, but you lose the people you love in the process,
Mhm.
what's it worth? Like that's not success to me. So, and I feel like you attract real people in your life if you're real. So again, to circle all back, I think just being authentic, somebody who lived his message, is to me the epitome of success. So we'll see how it turns out.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for your time today. And I'm so glad that you were able to join me on the podcast. And I hope that everyone who listens to this just soaks up so much knowledge and wisdom from you and can apply that to their journey, whether in business or pageants or anything that they are pursuing. So thank you so much for joining me today on Define Success.
Well, thank you for inviting me, and I wish you continued massive success.
Thank you so much. Hi, friend. Thank you so much for joining me for another episode of the Define Success podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please give me a like, follow, or subscription on whatever streaming service you're watching on, and to head over to my YouTube channel to watch my vlogs for more insight and tips on the journey in both pageants and in life. Also, head over to my Instagram at Bailey G Guy and connect with me there and let me know what you want to see in the next episode. Thank you so much, and I'll see you next time.